NGO.
Yes, ma'am, we can do that. So maybe we'll have a introduction with other NGOs who have joined.
Yeah, that's what I meant, that maybe Aparna could, or others who have joined could.
I'm from BXL Chennai, and we are with special needs children dealing with the autistic spectrum. So really looking for ideas and how to do fundraising and do better for our organization. I can't hear you, Bhumika. Are you saying something?
No, I just said got it. Is it audible or should I put on my headphones?
You're audible. You're audible at least to me.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible to me also.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks.
And we are a 20-year-old organization, and we have 4 centers all over India. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And when you are dealing with the cause, are there any
your voice is breaking, Bhumika. Can't hear you, please. Sorry.
Yeah, can you hear now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I was just asking that, is there any skilling program?
Sorry, is there?
Skilling. Do you skill the children that you work with?
We do get their employment, and we do, we do train them, vocational training, and we look out for employment for the ones who are capable enough to do that.
All right. Make some products and all, or no?
We do vocational training, yes. We do vocational training, and we do have exhibitions and a small outlet to sell these products as well.
Yeah, happy to hear from others. There's Raj Lakshmi.
Yeah, hi, Bhumika.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
team.
Yeah.
Very good evening. I'm Raj Lakshmi. I'm joining from Odisha. I am the co-founder of Odisha Rising Foundation. So we are a very, we are a very new organization. We are only 3.5 years old. So I really look forward to today's session. And basically ORF works in 5 segments. We call it 5E. E for employment, E for environment, emergency, and empowerment especially. So we are also into education. So we have a couple of tuition centers after school programs which we are running across Odisha. And when we started in the right time, but then COVID stopped us from expanding more. So that's it. That's all about me.
Where in Odisha?
We are in Bhubaneswar, but we've got operations across all 30 districts. So Bhumika, are you familiar with Odisha?
Yeah. I did just 2 years of my schooling in Cuttack.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. Which school were you in Cuttack?
I was in St. Joseph Girls High School.
Oh, fantastic.
Great. Maybe Idea Foundation, Amita?
Sure. Hi, this is Amita from Idea Foundation, Pune. We are a 20-year-old organization, and we work on 2 verticals, education and skill development. So we have study centers, we call them learning centers in slum communities in Pune. So we have about 20 of them. We call them after school program. And apart from them, we do have a sponsorship program and skill development wing through which we train women and youth in beauty care, fashion designing, computer training, home chef and catering. And the USP of the skilling program is about 60% of the trainees either get self-employed or they find employment in one of the local shops or local enterprises. And now after 20 years, we have realized that we are ready to expand to other states as well. So we are looking out for opportunities to grow our intervention.
Sheetal?
Ma'am, you're not audible. Were you saying something?
No, I just said Sheetal. If Sheetal would like to go next, Sheetal Agarwala.
Or if anyone else also want to just introduce yourself here, that would be also great.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, Jeba.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jaba from Tuakam. We are based in South India. Our office is in Chennai. So just to give a brief about what we work on, we've got 3 domains, environment, education, and humanity. We've aligned our vision or goals to the SDGs of which the United Nations propounded. So what we basically try to do under environment is to create for urban forests and all of that, for the main reason to increase the green cover and all of that. And under education, we try collecting funds through volunteers and other corporates and try to help them in their education for those who are financially, those who are unable to advance in their education. We pitch in and we try helping them. And also we conduct classes in government schools and we try to give them some pragmatic education. And our third domain is humanity, where we work on disaster relief and visiting orphanages and old age homes and just revamping their whole livelihood setup. And that is what we basically do. So that's all the basic introduction about the welcome.
Thanks so much. Anybody else would like to introduce? Ashna, should we go ahead? Are we waiting?
Yes, ma'am, we can start. I would request everyone to just turn on their cameras so we can just see each other, first of all. Hello, everyone. So I'm Ashna from NGOStory. So it's a pleasure to have you all here today at the first session of our mentoring program. So let me introduce first of all about Bhumika ma'am. Bhumika ma'am is the co-founder of Giving Circle and Jappi. Giving Circle helps the NGOs in marketing goodness, scaling up their causes using strategies, processes, and technology. And so, and through Jappi also, she's working towards the marketing and for the NGOs as well, marketing sustainability. And so we are very glad to have you, ma'am, here and to be a mentor of this session. So yes, ma'am, over to you. You can start today's session.
Thanks a lot, Ashna, and thanks to NGOStory for giving this opportunity. A lot of you here are in age quite elder to me. It's an opportunity for me. I don't think so that I will be able to, mentor per se, but I would like to share some of the thoughts that I carry as a part of my experience. So I have worked. I did my engineering and then I did my management and marketing, and thereafter I joined Tata Motors. I worked in Tata Motors for about 17 to 18 years, after which I founded my organization, which is called Giving Circle. Through Giving Circle, we advise NGOs in their marketing strategy. And Jappi was formed a little later when we came across a lot of livelihood setups in the country who, as a part of their mission, were driving product making and trying to sell those products. We realized that maybe we could partner them in their effort to sell and market the products which are made. So our first experience store in the country has been set up in Mumbai. It's called Jappi, And the plan is to open many more stores in the country, which will only and only house products made by Indian NGOs. We only look at quality products. So founders who are very, very conscious about the quality of the product, and then they want to scale up their marketing efforts, more than happy to work with them. Advisory is a separate vertical where we work closely with the NGOs, trying to understand where they are stuck and if there is any marketing need that is required, and then we partner with those setups. So I mean, since I have been called over here to talk about communication and marketing, I just want to tell you that I'm not an expert per se, but communication has always been my strength. I have been able to overcome a lot of my challenges and a lot of things that I have got in my life. I owe it to communication, ability to articulate, ability to stay relevant to the person that I'm speaking to has helped me a lot. I have got, even in my workplace, in my family affairs, a lot very clear communication, articulation of what I want, and without hurting, of course, anybody's feelings and all. But this articulation is very important, I feel, in the social sector, and uh, it's important otherwise also, but in social sector it is more important because we are working with things which are very much relevant to the heart. And when you are reaching somebody's heart, when you want somebody to do something and understand what's going on in your mind and heart, language and communication is really important, especially when there are just so many NGOs mushrooming in the country, all vying for that pie from either the CSR or individuals and all. How do you differentiate yourself through marketing and communication therefore becomes very important. And that's the whole plan that we discuss with NGOs when we do work at Giving Circle also. And with Jhappi also, our focus is about storytelling. How do we narrate the story of the maker of the product? How do we make sure that the particular maker and the cause is not left behind? We have a lot of products in the store which are made by transgender people. Some of them are also made by victims of human trafficking. And therefore, while the product is of superior quality, it speaks volumes when the cause is also narrated, while we do not become pushy or we do not try to get the sympathy of the buyer, because sympathy will not be able to get another sale. We may just be able to close that one sale, because now that the customer has walked in, it will be very difficult for the customer to walk out without buying. But that's like blackmailing the customer in some way that you must buy because it is so and so and all. So that's what we do. To to kind of keep the conversation today a little structured, I have put in some slides, but I'll just finish those slides very quickly, and we'll just move on to some kind of an interactive session, so that we're not just going all over the place, and then you just feel that you just heard some presentation, and then finally what was your issue or where you are lacking clarity, you did not get any support there. So I'll just share my screen, and the idea is to go through it quickly. However, happy to have anybody ask any question in between, and we can all kind of debate, discuss, and engage in that conversation. When I share my screen, I may not be able to see you clearly, so please unmute yourself and then ask the question. Yeah. Are you able to see, Ashna? Is this visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All right. So how I've structured this conversation today is marketing goodness and good marketing. So the whole perspective is around whether we should be actually marketing goodness that we are bringing to the world, because there is also a thought that when you're doing good work, should you be even talking about it? Shouldn't people just see it for themselves, feel it for themselves, and therefore take the action also themselves. And then the concept about good marketing. What and how should we market if at all we do decide to market what we are doing? I'm just using the term marketing. It's equivalent to communication. Communication is called marketing when you are wanting some end result out of it. You're not just communicating for the sake of communicating, but the need is felt, and therefore you are communicating, and therefore you're marketing something for a reason. This is little bit about giving circle and Jhappi. Jhappi is about marketing products, and giving circle is like an advisory vertical where we help NGOs. The whole purpose, the mission around formation of these two entities is to scale up community service in the country wherever we can. We are not taking any tall claims. Wherever we feel that the founder is really needing some help and is wanting to scale up from where he or she is, we kind of get involved and we try to understand where the challenges are and we help out. Philosophy, briefly put, there are a lot of practices which the for-profit world, carries out. And in the not-for-profit world, a lot of these practices can be adapted. We don't need to copy, we don't need to emulate directly, but there is a lot of adaptation opportunity. So we feel, being from the corporate world, that there are some very simple to execute strategies which can benefit the not-for-profit world. The skills that we have between me and my co-founder Bipin, strategy, marketing, and communication are basic and the most fundamental skills that we have. Now here, the whole thing of marketing goodness. So when we did also come and we spoke to a lot of NGOs when we started out in 2020. So this whole thought was this, that why should we even talk about our work? What is the need? Why? I in Hindi, there is this thing that neki kar darya mein dal. You're not supposed to speak about your good work. It goes against doing good work. And then we felt that a lot of NGOs are not engaging in marketing because they deep down feel it's not the right thing to do. It's not philosophically, it is not fitting into the thing. But the point is that we need to stay relevant. There is a lot of noise out there in the market, not just from other NGOs, but in general, there is just a lot of noise in the digital media. When you're on the road, there are hoardings. There's a lot of stuff that is happening. There is news. If you really need to break through this, you have to communicate. You have to market your goodness. It's not going to be obvious for people to feel because there is no peace in the world. There is no calm. There's a lot of noise. And to break through that clutter, you will need to speak out. You will need to speak, but speak more sensibly, gracefully, understanding the nuances of communication. Another reason why the whole need is felt to market is because you're not the only NGO, and you are not the only NGO, let's say in the education space or in the autistic, helping the autism space. There are many others also. And to top that all, there are individuals also, good individuals who are wanting to do good work. They are also seeking funds. They are also seeking support of their network. And the third entity, which is out there, for profit entities, but they're out there big time on all the social media channels, on Google and all the digital mediums, which is a crowdfunding platform. I mean, when you log into Facebook or any other such social media, you will find a lot of advertisement around so and so organ donation, so and so got burnt and needs help. It's that same money which could have come to an NGO is going to a crowdfunding platform, because for the donor, that is also donation, that is also humanity, that is also charity, that's also working on a cause. It may be transactional, it may be one life at a time, but that's where it is going. And therefore, there is a need for you also to be seen, maybe not with that kind of frequency and not with that kind of a force, but the need is there. And the other thing being, of course, that you want something. If you are happy where you
I
are,
didn't check.
hello? Yeah, if you are happy where you are, you do not need anything from anybody, and there is no need felt for additional funds, additional material, additional resources in terms of, let's say, volunteers, then it's okay. But you are the one who's needing some help, you needing something, and therefore the need to market. Another thing which we in the due course are realizing that what is that you're communicating, and where are you communicating that, how and to whom are you communicating. There is so much of uniqueness in everybody's project or programs. When Bipin and myself, we go and speak to the founders, we realize that in the operational thick operational issues that you all are in, you tend to overlook the uniqueness that you are bringing, and it is the uniqueness that needs to be communicated. Everything cannot be communicated and everything should not be communicated. You need to actually differentiate yourself and communicate those things which are relevant to the listener, which you are doing differently, and which is what makes you different. So a lot of times we feel that, I mean, in the education space, let's just take an example. Everybody starts a new NGO. Why don't the NGOs just collaborate among themselves and actually make a big impact? But we form new NGOs, we form new trusts, we form new charitable institutions because we feel that it needs to be done differently. It's something that you feel so passionate about that you want to give it your touch. You want to be directly involved in the course of action, you want to take control or whatever that is. But when it comes to communicating this, we just land up communicating the same old thing that we are educating. So the other one is also educating. In front of the donor, it is two NGOs in the education space. How are you different than the other? That gets missed out. I mean, I'm just sharing with you that, I mean, even when I'm speaking about Giving Circle or I'm speaking about Jhappi, we just go on and on because we are breathing that organization. We are so passionate, so attached to it that we just want to go on and on. But the other person who's on the listening side, only 5 seconds, because there's just so much of content out there on WhatsApp, on any other social media, in a magazine, in a newspaper, anywhere on Google, you're searching something. People are just scrolling. And between first and second scroll, their finger is just like moving, wanting to move away from that to the next thing. And that's the only space that you have to make yourself felt. And therefore, it's only that the tagline or it's just that difference that you are bringing out needs to, there has to be some drama, of course, but there needs to be some genuineness, and then there needs to be that brevity of content. When I say brevity, make it as short as possible so that you at least get the attention of the person. We also, is there anybody wanting to speak? Because I'm getting some noise or voice, I don't know. All right. So you don't need a consultant, don't need an advisor, but you need somebody who's away from operations to tell you, to help you identify your uniqueness. A lot of times when we are sitting with the NGOs, we feel that they get so carried away with the daily operations that their own uniqueness is now not known to them. And obviously the collaborative space, I mean, this whole social sector, personally I feel collaboration is far lesser than it could have been, and therefore we don't know what others are doing. We either we are too busy, or we feel that it's not doing the way we would have done it, so anyways I don't want to benchmark or take any reference from that. And so engrossed in the community, so engrossed with the beneficiaries, that we tend to overlook our own uniqueness, and therefore we do not know what to communicate, and we'll end up communicating the same thing which others are also communicating. And therefore sometimes it helps to have a battery of some volunteers, to have battery of some friends who are able to observe things as an outsider and give you those talking points which make you different from the rest, which becomes the positioning of your setup. So the whole slide has been put up to give you a sense that there is a need and why that need is there, and the need to communicate only the uniqueness about your setup, because there are just too many people trying to do the same thing that you are doing. You are doing it differently. Then what is that difference? Bring that out in the communication, because the donor or the person that you're wanting to sell your idea to, the product to, is aware what's happening, and therefore we need to uh, cut that clutter and be able to speak out of it. Now, coming to good marketing, as I said that there is a need, but there is a need for good marketing. Now, it's not rocket science. You don't really need an agency to always do it for you. And even if you have an agency, you have people doing it for you. I have gone through this myself, that they are doing a job. They will not be able to do justice to the vision and mission that you have. Every time there is a post coming out on the social media, you will have something or the other that you don't like about it. So your clarity of thought is most important, and therefore it's very important for you to understand who are you communicating your message to, who is your target audience. If it's a CSR, then it's a different kind of communication. If it's a retail donor, it's a different kind of communication. If you're selling your products, then it's a different kind of communication. What is that you are speaking, and to whom you are speaking, and when are you speaking? Timing is also very, very important. You may just be talking from wherever, but if your timing is wrong, you could be just wasting your energy. Then we'll go through one case study where I'll just tell you that, what is the impact we had because of the timing of that campaign. Frequency is also important. How much are you talking, and with what frequency are you talking? Now, why are you speaking? Are you speaking to your existing donors? If you're speaking to your existing donors, are you wanting them to do something over here, or you're just giving an update? And therefore, it's very important for you to understand the why of communication. If it's a new donor that you're trying to attract, if it's a new entity that you are trying to, attract, then the communication needs to be little different. We are speaking about all kind of communications. It could be a presentation, it could be a document, it could be a social media post, it could be anything that you are doing. But keep in mind, who are you speaking to? What is working for a retail donor may not be working for a corporate donor. Corporate donor normally does not get driven by the emotional part, would like to have facts, would like to have some data, and would like to have your growth strategy, a lot of reports, etc. But an individual retail donor could be driven by emotions, and therefore, have you been able to touch that emotion decides whether you will get that pie or you will not get that pie. Of course, the convenience of donation, the convenience of call to action is also super important. You may have moved somebody with your messaging, but now the next course of action requires him to toggle 2-3 steps, which is when the chain can get broken. The passion can suddenly sizzle down, or it can sizzle up, depending on how you have been able to tie the call to action. You want somebody to donate, then do you have UPI ID? Do you have that payment gateway link? Or are you expecting that for, that 2,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, or 500 rupees, somebody is going to create a net banking, going to create a beneficiary? Then it's unlikely that that circle will get completed. Not in all cases, but in most of the cases, that's also one of the places where the whole thing fizzles out. Then what do you want to communicate, and how much of it you want to communicate in that message? We all have a story to tell. We all have a lot of work that we have done and a lot of work that we want to do. A lot of times we feel that people won't understand, so therefore I need to write more. So more is the problem here. First generate the curiosity, and then have them kind of go through the whole thing. I'm not a super believer and a super fan of the crowdfunding platforms campaigns. Everybody cries over there, and therefore there is a lot of fatigue that gets generated. That, how many people, how many small kids and babies that are needing some kind of a treatment, sometimes worth 16 crores. I just do not know how we kind of gather that kind of fund. But the use of drama, the use of emotions, the use of that whole anti-climax or climax. I mean, just trying to get your attention. If you do over much of it, also you generate a lot of fatigue in the donor, and therefore stay genuine, but at the same time create some differentiation and do not tell the whole story right there. If somebody has to take action, no, will definitely go through the details. So there are two kind of people that you will come across. One is an analytical kind who will want to go through the details unless given details will not converge. The other one is an emotional guy who's okay with not being shared too many details, who doesn't want to go through details and is ready to kind of take the plunge and is ready to be proven wrong also. That emotional uh, surge came and he or she took the decision is also a kind of profile that you will have to deal with. And therefore for such people, brevity is important. The how much ever you talk, they just lose out the whole intent of that communication, and therefore they are not the ones who get moved. Other things to quickly kind of move, everything about your organization is talking to the outside world. Your literature, your logo, the name of the organizations, the colors that you are using in your logo, everything is communicating. Sooner or later, everything is communicating. So least that is required to be done is to maintain some consistency across all these collaterals. It's difficult, it sounds very simple, but pay attention to these things because it really matters in the long run also. Sometimes the logos or the name just does not communicate the work that you are doing. Sometimes the logos and the names are so esoteric, in the sense that the vision and mission in your head you have written in a language which only you understand. Rest of the world will have to go to the website to see, and maybe on the second or the third paragraph they will understand what is it you're doing. Now it appears good for profit organizations to have those kind of names and that kind of esoteric stuff, because they will anyways put a lot of money and do a complete campaign unveiling logo and then share what it means and all, and they'll not do it once, they'll do it repeatedly. We need to probably work on a communication which is cost effective also, and is clear on your face, is not something that you have to dig 2 levels down to understand what is happening there. You can use an image which is emotional, you can use an image which is intellectual, and you can have a mix of both. There is nothing right or wrong about it. It only depends what is the kind of cause that you have and what is the kind of audience that you are trying to attract. Now uh, in for example, we'll have one case study to talk that uh, if you're talking about increasing farmer incomes, you're talking about the effect of increasing farmer incomes on the economy, the GDP, the whole rural urban divide, then you will have to use a lot of intellectual mind, put it out, because you are trying to attract an intellectual mindset. But when you are talking about an autistic child who has created a Ganesha idol, you don't need so much of intellectual ability to understand what would have gone beyond. I mean, what would have gone behind creating that idol. But the whole thing can be just said very sweetly and shortly that, this is the real God, because it has been created by a godlike child with no biases. So you can play with emotional and intellectual sense of people depending on what is that you're communicating. Your organization need not stand for emotion or intellect. You can always decide it with your campaigns, which is the one that you're trying to do this time. What is that you're wanting out of it? Should you use the emotional lever or should you use the intellectual lever? Channel is basically how will you communicate? And we as not-for-profit organizations, it's difficult for us to afford the hoardings and the offline media or the TV commercials and all, largely relying on the social digital space. Inside the digital space also, there is clutter, and therefore there are a lot of paid ads, sponsored ads that are moving even in the social sector. We will need to choose our channel effectively, which goes well. And also because the next thing is consistency. You cannot just do a campaign once, maybe spend a little money on that, and then just evaporate from the media. You're just not there. You needed money, you launched a campaign, you paid somebody some sponsorship, you paid on that advertisement, you collected what you needed to collect, or maybe you did not collect or could not connect, but then after that you're just out. So consistency is important, and therefore the need to stick on to a channel which is cost effective, so that even if you are doing your posts daily or you're communicating in some fashion, it's not going to make a big dent on your financial side. Consistency is important, and in social media especially, consistency pays off, but it pays off in long run. There are possibilities of you getting tired and not wanting to do more, because you post something, one like, sometimes not even that, and like anyways means nothing, but like is a way to grow your reach. More and more people like the content that you are posting, their network gets leveraged and you get a larger following. Then of course your project and the actual need comes in, and then you have a lot of people wanting to support. Everything may not materialize in funds. That's also one thing that, I mean, out of communication I'm saying that everything that you if it is only to attract and only use advocacy, sometimes use uh, generally gathering consensus, and sometimes that you want funds. So this is the first case study. We'll just spend 2 minutes on this. This is one campaign that we did. Is this visible? Yeah.
Yes, Bhumika, it's visible.
Yeah, all right. So we are working with one NGO here in Mumbai. So Netra is the name of the umbrella that they make. And these umbrellas are made by people with disabilities, and 60% of them are visually and within 2 months or so, we had the whole inventory sold out. This is a campaign that went viral across the country while we launched it from Mumbai, but within one day, we just had 5,000 unattended calls, and we had the country asking for these umbrellas. We got orders from Kerala, we got from Guwahati, we got from Mumbai, we got from corporates, we got from retailers, we got from the normal people, individuals, we got for charity also. People said that they want to give out umbrellas. They don't want more than one for themselves, but they don't mind giving it to their security guards. They don't mind giving it to people on the streets, etc. That's the kind of response that we got. And we did not do anything beyond this one creative in that campaign. So we, on the hindsight, if we see, we feel the message was quite clear. The exactly the words which needed emphasis got the emphasis, and where to order was also there, and if you have a need for bulk also was there. But when we launched it for the first time, it wasn't like this. The order link was there, but for bulk orders also we did not create any other email address. So even the guy who wanted to take bulk was also had to go through that queue of calls, and therefore we realized that we have to do something differently for people who are wanting to buy in bulk. And this year, therefore, we changed the strategy of creating another channel for bulk orders. But this resonated with people big time. Therefore, this year we did not change the creative. We only added back again new collection 2022. First year we did wonders. Second year, not so much. The reason, first year the timing was just right. The country was in lockdown. There was general, feel good factor of wanting to help. And despite that, you did not need umbrellas when you're sitting under the roof. We were not going out. But the month of May, when we hit the campaign, was the first drizzle in at least Bombay, and the campaign went viral. This year, for whatever reason, we started our campaign only in the month of June, and that too towards the end of June, because we felt that the existing customers will only make, we will be able to get orders from there. But we realized that the umbrella quality was so good that nobody wanted an umbrella this year of the ones who bought it last year. So all I'm just putting out a case study over here that this is the messaging that really went into the hearts of people, because we did take that effort of speaking to few people after the campaign, that what really interested you, why did you take that call, why did you started talking to us. And people were ready to be on the line, people were ready to wait for the umbrellas. So it they said that it was on their face, they could not help but buy one umbrella, because there's so much of effort that has been put. And mind you, the brand name that was created by the NGO was Netra, and we use that brand name to create an oxymoron. So Netra means eyes, but this umbrella is by a person who does not have the conventional eye that we're talking about. But the same person wants to see a confident and dignified, independent living. This touched people, and we got a good response. Another case study is, we're not going to the details of this. This is an organization that we work with. It's Global Parli. It's a organization in Eastern Maharashtra which is working on farmer income increase through horticulture. And this is the organization that is talking about change of economy if we are able to move our farmers to a 1 lakh kind of income levels. There's a lot of intellect that is required to be triggered for this movement to happen. So the founder knows that it's a movement, it's not a cause. A lot of people will have to embrace this as a movement, because it's about the whole country, it's not about one particular geography or area. You must go and see the communication that happens on their social media handles. You must go and check their websites. They are constantly talking, they are constantly communicating, they're constantly telling people as to in 4 years, in 5 years, from a drought prone area in Eastern Maharashtra, how, which is called as a suicide capital of the country, of the state, they have moved them to such prosperity levels. And they are adding village by village, tehsil by tehsil, and volunteer by volunteer. Because of constant communication, they are able to gather a lot of intellectual minds of HNIs, NRIs to come and forward this movement for them. But it requires the founder to take that charge of the situation and to be always in stay in communication with the people in general. So this is also one way of communication. Anything that new happens in that organization is communicated. Whether somebody is listening, not listening, you are communicating, and slowly people just catch on to the thing, and then they start communicating. Be it distribution list created on WhatsApp and people get a message, but you don't get bombarded with messages daily. There is something called as a consolidated message which comes once in a month. Then there are so many groups of volunteers created. Each group has members maximum what WhatsApp can hold, and there is so much of controlled discussion happening, controlled volunteering projects and assignments being given, very beautifully communicated cause, I would say. So that's one thing I wanted to share. That's more or less what I wanted to kind of put over here. So as I said that I did my marketing MBA and 17 years in Tata Motors. I founded enterprise which helps NGOs. The whole effort is to help to scale up, to move them to the next level. And a passionate person about marketing goodness. I personally feel that there is a need, and it needs to be done also in the right manner. Just to say that it needs to be good marketing. Not talking about jazzy or expensive marketing. It needs to be good marketing. That's all of the one-way communication, which I just want to kind of complete now. I'm open to any questions. If there's any slide that you want me to go back to, I can do. Otherwise, I can just, kind of close this presentation also. Thanks a lot for your patience listening.
Anyone who have any doubts or any questions? You can also type it in the chat box also.
Could be anything coming to your mind, I mean, you can just communicate.
Bhumika, it was excellent hearing from you, and I would like to connect with you over LinkedIn very soon to discuss further about some things. Thank you so much, Bhumika.
Thanks a lot. So I've tried to space it out in such a way that we have, you hearing more, while I've already taken 40 minutes. Happy to listen.
Ma'am, there's
Hi.
a question in the chat. Yeah.
Hi, Bhumika.
Hi, Jemma.
The presentation was with such clarity. Thank you so much for that. So my question is that, example, let's take a campaign for 50 or 100 days. The major part which NGOs, as you said, would choose is digital marketing. So what do you think? Because after, let's say 10 to 20 days, max 10 to 15 days, there would be some saturation point. So it will be very hard, and this fatigue would be created that it will be very hard to push forth, and all of that would happen. So what advice would you give for such a campaign, consistent campaign for like more than 70 or 80 days?
A crowdfunding campaign? What are you doing the campaign for?
A volunteering campaign, not crowdfunding, where a lot of people would be involved every day.
So it's very subjective actually. With the limited information, there is no thumb rule as to what is a good or a bad duration for such a campaign. It also depends on if you have created some kind of phases of such a program, and you are constantly in communication with your set of volunteers as to what has been the result of phase 1, phase 2, because anything that moves beyond a certain time duration then starts to fizzle out also. And therefore it's important to keep the end duration also in mind, so that the volunteer also knows that this is going to be an 80-day. So when you say 80-day, we normally 80 looks very big, and therefore in communication we start saying that it's 2 months or little less than 3 months and on. And therefore I think milestones is what helps people in staying clued in. If it's generally dragging to the next level, then they lose the sense of end. But if you have proactively initially itself created some kind of a milestone, then it may just help to keep them connected to the end goal. That's how I would say, depending on the limited information that I have right now.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, we have a question from Sandeep. Any cheap bulk email provider for non-profits?
Any cheap?
Bulk email provider for non-profits.
I mean, offhand, I do not know of any such email providers, but I can only tell you that email marketing is also a skill. And a lot of times when we are doing this bulk emails and all, whichever provider that you go to, just make sure that they have this basic sense that if you just bombard from one IP, then there's a risk of you getting blacklisted also. I mean, there's a lot of spam that gets generated for the people, and therefore That basic sense should be there. So anything that's cheap may or may not be good. Not saying that it's always bad, but if you feel that something that you're getting is just a steal, it's just too cheap, there has to be something wrong in that also. So but I don't know of any such providers per se, because I've not dealt with anybody so far.
So another question from Sheetal. She's saying thank you so much for sharing, and I would like to understand on the content part. How long should be a content, and what triggers with audiences more?
So depends on what are you communicating it for, who are you communicating it to. Like I just showed you two case studies. In case of umbrellas, you just wanted people to buy, get moved, and take an instant decision to buy or not to buy. It worked. Whereas in case of global parley, you want people to donate for the farmer, and therefore it requires a detailed talking. I'm sitting in the urban India. For me to be able to relate to a farmer is difficult, and therefore I need to give some more details. But having said, in both the examples, the initial part is to generate curiosity, to generate interest, and therefore keep it as short as possible. If you hit the person to the next level only, he's going to sit and read the details. So the initial part needs to be very, very short, and uh, get the person in first. That should be the aim, and not start off with, going round and round the whole cause. We are emotional and passionate about our cause. The other person can also become emotional and passionate, provided we are triggering the right emotion. And believe me, with overdose of content, you will never be able to create that experience for the other person. So the thumb rule is to keep it short as much as possible. You should be ready with a lot of backup data, depending on what they will end up asking, if at all somebody wants to get engaged or involved deeply. So it also depends whether you're selling a product of the NGO, or you are seeking donations from CSR, or you're seeking donations from a retail donor or an individual, or you're speaking to volunteer. So depending on all of this, the communication style will have to be altered.
Okay, ma'am. So I can see Radhika ma'am have raised her hand. Ma'am, could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Bhumika, for your presentation. So I want to understand a little more about the kind of support you provide or your organizations provide to NGOs, especially for smaller NGOs where, so we have a nutrition awareness program, which we have kind of just piloted, right? So we don't have huge numbers, but we want to scale it up and take it to the next level. So, what kind of support does your organization provide? And related to that, do you also provide support with, communication related to fundraising?
Yeah. So through Giving Circle, we do the role of understanding your organization in detail, first of all. Like, we don't have a cookie cutter solution for any one NGO. What has worked for one may not work for the other. And depending on the founder's area of interest and founder's strength, we do some kind of a SWOT analysis to understand that, what will work well with this set of, NGO, and what will work with the other set. And then we go through we go through a lot of probing discussions. That's more like a discovery phase, where we try to understand what has got you till here, what can take you further, and what can be the deterrent in that growth. And a lot of times our understanding has been it's the founder's own way of working, which is kind of stopping the organization from moving to the next level also, typically called as the founder syndrome. So this is more like a consulting thing, but we don't cut, copy, paste. So what we do and what we don't do, I would like to say, is that we do not interface with the community. So we are not the best people to tell you what to do with the community, what should be your program, how should you design that program. What will only help is that how you communicate your program. What is that you need to do on the market side. What you want to do is your baby. what you want to do with your beneficiary is also your baby. How your beneficiaries and you interact with each other, typically the operations part is all yours. And now, having decided what you want to do, how to communicate this to the outside world, be it anybody, through a website to a larger audience, or let's say to the CSR, or to a retail space. That's what we help in. Fundraising as a goal, we normally do not take, but we get you ready for that kind of fundraising. But in all the assignments that we have done in Giving Circle so far, we have been able to help raise funds also, because we understand that, any advice is judged basis what did it result in. So some of the simple things that we did, fortunately, we could help in raising funds as well.
Okay, thanks. And what would be the best way, like, to reach you if we?
Yeah, so I think my email ID is there with Ashna. You could probably drop in an email and we can discuss this.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Radhika ma'am. So we have another question here from Rahul Dev. His question is it a good way to start as a company, set up a supply chain and customer base, and create a community, then convert that business into NGO? That's the first question. And the second question is, in marketing, which plays most to drive more sales, product qualities or maker's story?
Yeah. So Rahul, we have been, I think, wanting to get in touch earlier also. You are there on almost all my LinkedIn posts also. So yeah. So I don't know the first answer. Why would you want to convert it into an NGO after you have successfully created all that is written? I mean, personally, I think that, from my own experience, Jappi has been formed in order to make sure that all the market risks which an NGO cannot take, because NGO is driven by a lot of compliance. NGO is driven by submitting a lot of reports to the donor. Any money that you spend on marketing, you have to answer questions. A lot of times you don't get money also for marketing. So that's the whole piece that we are trying to keep NGOs away from, so that we are able to kind of, dovetail into their mission and then do the part which they were not able to do because of the legal entity that they are. After setting it up, the reason to convert it into an NGO is basically that you became sustainable. Now, why are you moving towards the donation? Maybe for some, some freebies or some socks. I think sustainability is the answer. If you have been able to create it as a for-profit entity, like we are a for-profit entity, I wouldn't want to create Jappi as an NGO to get some donations and all, because then I'm not sustainable, which means a part of my operations need to run on charity. And I am wanting to take the NGOs away from charity. The whole reason for forming this organization is to kind of give sustainability to the NGO, so that they have other means of raising funds, which is selling products made by their beneficiaries, as against always going for donations. What you get out of these funds, which get as a part of selling products and all, you are the best person to ascertain where to use these products. You want to give digital literacy to your beneficiaries, you want to give financial literacy to your beneficiaries, you just want to give the money into their bank account, or you want to give for their kids education and all. What you want to do with that money, nobody can ask you a question on that. Skilling has already happened, product making is now happening. So this whole thing is that I sell more, I give them working capital so that they are able to produce more, and it moves like a business for them. What they cannot do is spend aggressively on marketing, and therefore Jappi as a brand does that for them. Maybe you can tell me clearly as to why will you want to convert that into an NGO, then I can answer. In marketing, which plays most to drive more sales, product qualities or maker story? So product quality is a hygiene thing. You just cannot have any future sale happening, even if your story is very powerful, if the quality is not good. Having said that, for our sector, for all of us, for NGOs, our story is our uniqueness, it's our differential advantage. We must use it tastefully. We should not force somebody to buy just because it is made by a transgender person, it's made by a person with disability, it is made by a person who's blind. But at the same time, the whole happy situation that comes out of this product is that while you have taken a product, you have supported somebody's life also. But you did not do a favor by taking this product, because you are enjoying the quality of the product also. So therefore, the first thing is the quality, and Maker's Story is something that gives you that whole hook to have the people attached to it. Today, you bought my umbrella. Tomorrow you may just forget, but I need to keep reminding you that what you bought is a product of development. It's a product of social development. Therefore, I need to keep engaging with you using that story, because umbrella is after all an umbrella. I mean, how much more can I talk about the product differentiation? You are using it as a product, but I need to just keep reminding that it was a development product. I hope I could do justice to your question.
I hope it clarifies that doubt. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing those tips. Okay. So is there any more questions? Anyone else wants to? I have dropped Bhumika ma'am's mail ID in the chat box in case if anyone want to contact her directly.
Ma'am, I've got another doubt. So what suggestion would you give for an NGO? How can an NGO improve or develop or get better in the Instagram phase?
So I'm so sorry, but I'm very poor at Instagram myself. So I think today I may not be able to answer this question, because on LinkedIn I have some understanding, but Instagram as a handle I do not know, because of maybe my age, or maybe because of lack of interest that I have on that handle. I have not been able to kind of understand that handle completely. So I feel that it's a great handle. This much I can tell you, that it's a great handle if you are selling products. Because people out there are there for instant gratification. I don't know whether it really helps in kind of gathering any consensus on the cause and all. I don't know whether people really use words to communicate on that channel, or they are largely putting stories and reels and videos and photographs. So not too sure whether it helps the NGOs in converting people to any particular action. It may be just a feel good factor, but however, if there is a livelihood intervention in your cause, and then there are products that you're making, and those products have an image and a maker story, it may be a very good handle to explore. I'm yet to explore. So
thank you, ma'am. As you said, you've got some ideas about LinkedIn. Can you please enlighten us on that?
yeah, so LinkedIn is a lot more matured and lot more serious handle. Your inner philosophies, your inner passions, the way your viewpoints, your perspectives about life in general, about your set of beneficiaries, about what is happening around you. I think it's a great handle to be able to communicate to a larger audience. Having said that, you need to be genuinely invested in that handle. As a founder, you need to be there on that handle. I would also say that any social media, for that matter, is not about you posting and exiting. It's about also reading what others are doing. With any social media handle, it's you give, you take. There is so much happening out there in the world. It's a very beautiful handle to kind of go through what others are doing, what kind of creatives messaging they are using, what kind of traction they have been able to build. A lot of CSRs are also sitting on that handle. A lot of announcements happen on that handle. And therefore, as a founder, it's very important to stay on that handle. You may not have your business page, I mean your NGO page on LinkedIn if you feel that it's a little bit of a overhead for you. However, my only 2 cents is this: that as a founder, be there. Don't create a business page and be there as a founder. It's good to be there as an individual. If you can manage both the handles, which means that as an organization also it is there, and it is there as Zeba also, good. But Zeba will definitely get more traction as your business page. And speaking only for the social sector, because social sector is not having too much of funds for marketing. Therefore, you speak and people listen, rather than somebody else going on the business page posting on your behalf, because you can't post on the business page as an individual. Then you need to speak more passive and we are doing, this has been done. Here you can speak as a first person. So I feel like this, and I bumped into this, and this is my view. So people are appreciating original and genuine stuff. And of course there's crap which you will have to ignore and move away from it. Invest a lot of time. It's not overnight that you will start getting traction on LinkedIn. I've had my own share of learning curve and all, and still building on that. But I'm thoroughly enjoying my presence on LinkedIn, and I think that's one of the reasons why NGOStory also reached out to me. Otherwise, I'm yet to really break any ice in the sector.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Do anyone else have any other questions? Otherwise, we can wind up.
Thanks to all of you. Thanks for your patience. Very, very, very lovely having interacted with all of you. Great.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us and giving all the tips and all the information required for us. And thank you all who have joined today. It was great seeing you all, and it was great having you here. So we'll be conducting another for the second session we'll be having on the mentoring program is on technology for nonprofits. So it will be conducted on 27th August. So I'll be shortly sharing the details over that also. So we're excited I hope you guys join for that. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Bhumika ma'am.
Thank you much.